Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so the baby is in the news again, man. And allegedly he knocked somebody out again, man. And I am not fronting, man. So the baby is in the news, and the news source that's running this story is actually a legitimate news source, and it's the New York Daily News. And basically, the report that they're alleging, in their report, they're alleging that the baby is being sued by a rental property owner for getting in a scuffle again. Yes, man, this is not a repeat story. This is not something old coming back. This is something brand new. And what's crazy is, man, the baby has had situations in the past where he's seen himself getting locked up, or had situations where he's been locked up in like Miami, Houston, and all other places behind him getting into altercations with different folks. Now, I'm going to start off by saying that all of this is alleged, and just because somebody is suing you doesn't mean that they're right. But according to this report, man, there's a lot that the baby's going to have to prove in the court of law. Now, before we get into all the specifics, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And, man, let's get it. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the baby just a little bit, man. Right now, man. Now, the baby is in the news again for getting into an altercation, as I mentioned before. Now, the baby seems like, man, he had an issue out there in California. Now, he's already been in the news earlier this month because he got locked up in California for a gun charge. And I don't even know where that gun charge has gone, man. I think that's still a pending case. So on top of that, he's got another case that was filed on Monday, and it came in the form of a lawsuit. Now, this lawsuit in the report, they don't say if it's a civil lawsuit or if it's a criminal lawsuit, because, I mean, I don't know if it doesn't actually mention that somebody is looking for the baby, or there's a warrant out for his arrest or anything of that matter. So I'm assuming that this is a civil lawsuit, which could be good and bad. Because if he's found guilty, man, the baby will have to, pay up some money, but he still wouldn't have to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So it's a give and take. Now, the baby has recently been in the news before, like I mentioned earlier, because he had an altercation back in 2019, man. And then he had an altercation where he was arrested he had a situation where he was arrested in Beverly Hills last month for carrying a concealed weapon and carrying a loaded gun in a vehicle, which seemed, all right, man, I'm going to keep it real. That case seemed like it was trumped up, because if the weapon isn't on him and it's in a vehicle, if he's got security and stuff like that, how do you immediately pin the weapon on the baby? Just like with Lil Wayne's first gun case, I always thought it was odd that Lil Wayne was the one who took that gun charge, because there were other people on that bus. There's like 30 people that were on the bus or something crazy like that, right? And his manager at the time even said that, hey, man, that's my gun. It was my gun. And they still put the gun on Lil Wayne. This time it was similar with the baby. It seemed like they still put the gun on the baby. And then he was also arrested in Miami, man, in January of 2020 after getting into a fight with a music promoter. Now, you might have seen that footage. I don't know if you have, but if you haven't, that was the time he was in the courtroom and he actually was telling the judge, like, hey, man, that ain't that much money. And the bailiff, one of the bailiffs, she actually had to pop him in the back of the head with a newspaper or something. It was like, man, if you don't be quiet right now. And, man, it's just been one thing after another with the baby. It seems like, man, he's playing one foot in the streets and one foot in the mainstream. Because out of the top 3 rappers right now that are super hot, that's Rowdy Rich, Lil Baby, and the baby. They're all equally yoked. They're on the same level, right? But the baby is probably the most commercial out of them 3. He's got his own lane. He's kind of like a Ludacris because he's got the wild and crazy videos, and a lot of people tune in just for, to see the video and the visual, man. He's got that aspect of it. And I think Ludacris is a very good comparison for that, right? Now, he's commercially viable, but dude seems to always get into altercations or some type of street stuff, man. I did a story a while back when he was about to get into it with his security guard, his own security. So the baby don't care. But man, let's get to the specifics of this case. Now, in this report from the New York Daily News, it says this specifically. So the headline is, rapper DaBaby attacked rental property owner who tried to shut down unauthorized music video shoot lawsuit. So it's saying this is being claimed in a lawsuit. Now, the story continues. It says this. The owner of a California rental home filed a lawsuit Monday accusing rapper DaBaby of attacking him and stealing his phone after the man tried to shut down an unauthorized music video shoot in December. The plaintiff, Gary Pagar, alleges that the Grammy-nominated artist brought about 40 people to the Los Angeles property in violation of their lease agreement, which prohibits gatherings of more than 12 people because of the state's COVID-19 social distancing restrictions, according to the report by Variety magazine. So it looks like he just filed this lawsuit on Monday. So I'm assuming either this happened on over the weekend or prior to the weekend, going into the weekend or something like that. And it continues on to allege a couple of different things, man. Now, it said that Prager, he went to the house to stop the activities once he found out it was not supposed to, that DaBaby had so many people over. Now, according to their agreement, he wasn't supposed to have more than 12 people over there. So he went over there to stop it. And then he said at that time, when he ran up, when he started knocking on the door, I'm guessing, or when he left his car just to tell him to shut the music video down or whatnot, somebody that he doesn't know and he can't identify punched him and started beating him up. And then he said DaBaby, who was in a car nearby, I don't know why he wasn't in the music video shoot, jumped out of the car. This is what he's alleging, that DaBaby jumped out of the car and told him not to call the cops and sucker punched him in the mouth. So he said DaBaby jumped out the car and swung on him and punched him in the mouth. Now, DaBaby be knocking people out on video a lot. I mean, we've seen videos in the past of him allegedly knocking people to the fences, at his concerts and everything. So it seems like, man, it doesn't seem like something that DaBaby wouldn't do. But, man, just because this dude said he did it doesn't mean he did do it. Now, this dude, Mr. Prager, he's also saying that he was left without a tooth, that DaBaby and them knocked out one of his teeth, and he was covered in blood, and DaBaby and all of them left. So if DaBaby is renting the property, like, where did he go? Like, they just knocked him out, and then just all 40 people exited the place and dipped? I mean, this is an interesting story, to say the least. Now, it does go on to say that the gentleman is suing DaBaby and his manager, and he wants compensation for the damages to the house, as well as an unpaid portion of the rental bill. So whatever's left over on the rental bill, he wants that paid, and then whatever he's seeking in damages. So, I mean, I don't know. You can't put an estimate on that without, hearing the exact amount. But this definitely sounds like a civil suit as opposed to a criminal case. Because if it was a criminal case, DaBaby, they'd be having a warrant out for him. And DaBaby, recently, he went on social media and he was pretty much bragging about this is his second time in a row being nominated for six Grammys or more. You know what I mean? So it's looking up on DaBaby's career, but he's always played this game where he had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And that was a crazy story. But what do you guys think, man? Do you think DaBaby is out here knocking rental property owners' teeth out and then jumping in his car for the great escape? Or do you feel that maybe this alleged lawsuit might not be official and somebody might just be suing him for monetary gain for something he really didn't do? Now, with that, this been your boy Big Man. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.